Species known for their pragmatism, spoke above the din. We must act quickly. Humanity's response will be swift and decisive. If we do not intervene, the Zirin collective may face total annihilation. The Zirin ambassador collapsed into his seat, his elongated fingers clutching the edges of the table. "You don't understand," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Their eyes, the way he looked at me. There is no forgiveness in them." The room fell silent as the gravity of the situation settled over them. No one spoke, but the thought hung heavy in the air: humanity was coming. And when they arrived, there would be no diplomacy, no appeals for mercy. The fleets of Earth would speak in a language the galaxy had only begun to understand. Finally, a representative from the Shilen Confederacy broke the silence. "We must prepare. This is no longer about the Zirin alone. If humanity's wrath extends beyond them, none of us will be safe." But deep down, they all knew the truth. The Council had no power to stop what was coming. Humanity had been wronged, and the galaxy would soon learn the cost. The edge of Zirin space erupted with light as the human fleets arrived. Thousands of warships, each a testament to Earth's unparalleled engineering, emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with a cold, metallic sheen, reflecting the harsh starlight. No announcement, no warning, just the silent declaration of presence. The Zirin military scrambled to respond. Their ships, though numerous, were outdated in comparison. Commanders barked frantic orders as defensive systems came online. Planetary shields activated, and fleets formed a haphazard line to intercept the invaders. Yet, there was no immediate attack. The human ships simply hung in space, a vast wall of power that dwarfed the Zirin forces. Then came the broadcast. A single voice, calm and devoid of emotion, filled every channel. "Zirin Collective, this is Admiral Kane of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have committed an act of violence against humanity. Justice will be served." The message ended, leaving an oppressive silence in its wake. Moments later, the first strike came. It wasn't the indiscriminate bombardment the Zirin had feared. Instead, the attacks were precise, surgical. Human ships targeted key military installations and weapons systems, dismantling the Zirin defenses with terrifying efficiency. Massive plasma cannons were reduced to smoldering ruins, and fleet carriers were disabled before they could launch their fighters. Panic spread among the Zirin ranks. Their attempts to retaliate were futile. Human ships seemed to anticipate every move, evading attacks with ease and countering with devastating precision. The Zirin High Command sent desperate messages to the Galactic Council, pleading for intervention. "We cannot hold them off. They are unstoppable." Back in the council chamber, the scene was no less chaotic. Representatives argued over what to do. Some called for immediate action, insisting that the council send its combined fleets to protect the Zirin. Others hesitated, wary of escalating the conflict further. The name Earth was spoken with a mixture of fear and awe, a reminder of the stories that had circulated for years. "Do you understand what they're doing?" an elder representative from the Valani asked, her voice cutting through the noise. "They're showing us restraint. They could have annihilated the Zirin homeworld already, but they haven't. This isn't vengeance. It's a warning." Her words hung heavy in the air. On the edge of Zirin space, the display of power continued. A massive Zirin dreadnought, the pride of their fleet, prepared to fire its main cannon. Before it could, a single shot from the human flagship pierced its hull, igniting its core. The ship disintegrated in an instant, a flash of light that sent shockwaves through the system. The message was clear. Humanity's fleet was not just an instrument of destruction, it was a manifestation of their will. The Zirin Collective, and the galaxy at large, now understood what it meant to face Earth. This was no battle. It was judgment. And humanity's verdict was absolute. The human envoy's face appeared on the holographic display before the Galactic Council, his expression as unreadable as the void. He waited in silence, allowing the weight of his presence to settle over the chamber. When he finally spoke, his voice was measured, devoid of anger but heavy with an unshakable resolve. "A human child," he began, his gaze sweeping across the assembled representatives, "was killed under your watch. A child who embodied the trust we placed in this council, in the belief that you were capable of ensuring peace and understanding among us. The room was silent, the tension suffocating. No one dared to interrupt. The Zirin claim it was a mistake, the envoy continued. And perhaps it was. But intent does not erase consequence. That child was a citizen of Earth. Her life was not just hers, it was tied to billions who now demand justice. He paused, letting the enormity of his words sink in. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to make our terms clear. The Zirin Collective will publicly admit their culpability and issue a formal apology to the people of Earth. Reparations will be paid to the child's family, and the Zirin government will implement strict reforms to prevent such an incident from ever occurring again. Failure to comply will result in consequences far beyond the scope of this council's imagination. Murmurs rippled through the chamber, but no one dared speak openly. The Zirin ambassador, pale and trembling, could only nod weakly. The envoy's tone softened, but the steel beneath it remained. We are not without compassion. Humanity understands grief and regret. We have made our own mistakes, and we have paid for them. But we will not allow this to go unanswered. A line has been crossed, and it is our duty to ensure it is never crossed again. The council erupted into debate the moment the transmission ended. Representatives from various species argued over humanity's demands. Some, like the cautious Valani, supported compliance, seeing the logic in Earth's terms. Others, such as the aggressive Kraith delegates, questioned the precedent this would set. If we bow to humanity now, one Kraith representative growled, we show the galaxy that might makes right. Is that the future we want? But look at the alternative, countered a member of the peaceful Nerian Alliance. They've shown restraint. They could have razed Zirin worlds to ash by now. Instead, they offer terms. That is not a display of tyranny, it's justice. Meanwhile, humanity released a transmission to the council, a recording of the child. The footage showed her laughing, exploring a park on the neutral world where her life was ended. She spoke to her parents about her dreams, her excitement for the future. The recording ended abruptly, and the room fell silent. It was not a demand or a threat, but a reminder of what had been lost. Even the stanchest opponents of Earth's demands felt their resolve weaken. The truth was undeniable, the price of inaction was too great to bear. The Galactic Council chamber was solemn as the final vote was cast. One by one, the representatives submitted their decisions. The tally illuminated the chamber in stark clarity. The council would comply with humanity's demands. The Zirin ambassador slumped in his seat, a figure of defeat, as whispers of relief and trepidation swept through the assembly. A transmission from the human fleet followed almost immediately, acknowledging the decision. The human envoy's voice carried the same cold precision as before, but there was a faint trace of finality. Your compliance has been noted. The reparations and reforms will proceed under strict oversight. Any deviation will be met with consequences that need no elaboration. This matter, for now, is concluded. In orbit above Zirin worlds, humanity's fleet began to withdraw. Their departure was as deliberate as their arrival, each ship moving in perfect synchronization. The Zirin populace, watching from below, exhaled in collective relief, though the fear of what could have been lingered. The devastation humanity had wrought was precise, but the memory of their power was carved into the very fabric of Zirin space. As the last human ship disappeared into hyperspace, the council remained silent. The weight of what had transpired was inescapable. One by one, representatives began to speak, their voices measured and reflective. A delegate from the pacifist Tayari coalition broke the silence. We have seen humanity's strength, but also their restraint. They did not come to destroy but to demand justice. That is something we cannot ignore. The elder representative from the Valani, who had long warned of humanity's potential, nodded gravely. It is a warning to us all. They value life, but they will not hesitate to protect their own with every means at their disposal. Perhaps we should learn from this, rather than fear it. Not all were so reconciliatory. A Kraith representative, still bristling with indignation, hissed, "Today, we ceded power to them. How long before they decide they no longer need this council at all?" But the murmurs that followed were not of defiance, but of uncertainty. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and everyone in the chamber knew it. The Zirin ambassador, still pale, rose to speak. His voice was shaky, but he forced the words out. "We accept humanity's terms, and we vow to make amends. Let this tragedy be a lesson to us all." Outside the council chamber, the galaxy was abuzz with the story of Earth's justice. Some species watched in awe, others in fear, but all now understood that humanity was not to be underestimated. They were a force driven not by conquest, but by an unyielding sense of right and wrong. In the quiet that followed, the council adjourned. Each representative left with the same thought: the galaxy had forever changed. Humanity had not just demanded justice, they had redefined what it meant. And the stars would remember.